You ready? Cool.
I'm ready.
Because I'm ready too, and I see you're drinking out of your mug, and I still have my glasses and my mug here, but it's seriously this mug. Where is it here?
Oh, it's the Jason Momoa mug.
Today I don't feel like doing anything except Jason Momoa. I do him.
Right?
Whoop, whoop.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Loree.
Totally love it. So we're live. We're ready. And just I do not have my Facebook in front of me. Usually I have my Facebook open, so I'm commenting on there. So it's streaming on our comments. So
there, I should shut the volume off on mine.
Somebody's got theirs going.
Hey, look at that.
It's us. It's us.
I got it.
Perfect.
Okay, we're set up and ready to go.
Let's get ready. I'm going to start today. I'm going to start today.
Okay.
So, welcome to our conscious conversation call. Welcome to our Tuesday. Welcome to the place where we invite you to be conscious in your divine wisdom, which to me is where your intellect meets your heart and they come together. And as Paul is smudging, I am already feeling the lean in, right? The lean in. It's Tuesdays, this place for everyone where we wish for you to pause. Pause the chaos and the turmoil. Pause out of the dialogue that your mind is creating within your story so that you can find your heart thread again.
Yeah.
It's just an hour every Tuesday to find your heart thread. And, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Loree Cowling, and this is what I do. I adore being with you, being intuitively supporting you to find the connection that is your heart thread, that is the connection to your divine wisdom, that's connection to all that you have created in the world for yourself. And that's what I love to do. I love to do it with Paula. I love to do it with lots of people. For me, it's always in the conversations, the programs, the places where we gather, right? Whether it's we gather as two, or we gather with our own soul, or we gather in a group. That's where we unfold the heart thread. So I think that's what we're going to do today. And that's what I'm going to go with. Paula, why don't you tell us about you today?
All right. Well, I wanted to just show up and just be today, right? Mm-hmm. And experience this. These Tuesday morning calls are amazing for what we, really what we're birthing into existence is our true self. And so for those of you who don't know me, yes, I help people to leave behind what the world has taught them, what their programming is, and to embrace their truth. And every Tuesday morning, I get the chance to show up and do this with Loree, the both of us together, and this amazing energy we have together in bringing forth and wisdom from our heart that just flows, wisdom that flows through our soul, wisdom that flows through you showing up, through you commenting. And so good morning, good morning, good morning. I see Danny Lee and Michelle and Laura Lee. It's like romper room here. And Alex is here.
Alex, both of us are really happy Alex is here today.
Yes. All right. Anyways, I have a quote that I want to share that I was sharing with Loree just before the call, and I would like to share it with you all to get our topic going today. And this is from Frida. Frida told her husband, "I'm not going to ask you to kiss me nor apologize to me when I think you're wrong. I won't even ask you to hug me when I need it most. I don't ask you to tell me how beautiful I am, even if it's a lie, nor write me anything beautiful. I won't even ask you to call me to tell me how your day went, nor tell me you miss me. I won't ask you to thank me for everything I do for you, nor to care about me when my soul is down. And of course, I won't ask you to support me in my decisions. I won't even ask you to listen to me when I have 1,000 stories to tell you. I won't ask you to do anything, not even be by my side forever. Because if I have to ask you, I don't want it anymore. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, wow. Wow. Because for me, that spoke to, you think about it, when we show up, we're showing up, and like, I look at my friendships and my relationships in my life, and I never have to ask those things from people. And I started to apply it to myself too, right? Questioning myself. Do I need to question myself, and or just showing up fully? And I was just sitting in the energy of that today, that if I have to ask, if I have to ask, then I just don't want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want that synergy. I want that soul vibe that vibes along with me, right? And I look at my relationships, and it just got me really thinking about things. How did that quote affect you, Loree?
Yeah, I love it. And interesting, I read it probably last week, it came across my feed, and I had some real visceral reactions to it, right? I had a couple of things. It really queried for me how I show up in value. And this isn't a new thing for me. All of the conversations I'm having right now, with the uniqueness and the talks I'm doing, is really about the frequency between total disconnect, tolerance, acceptance, and then value. And they're all like a movement in frequency. And so this quote really brought for me the query of, how am I valuing myself? How am I valuing my relationships? Do I show up in such a way that I've seen the value in another soul exactly as they are? So that, like Frida's saying in this quote, if I have to keep asking you for this, you don't see me. Like, right? She's saying you don't right. See me. For me, it really was she's not being seen by someone who is divinely partnered with her, beside her. Like, standing beside somebody allows you to see their world, right? It's like this. Mm-hmm. I do this in workshops. I'll have people stand beside each other, and you can see part of their world and your world. And in the beginning, you query, and all through your relationship, you should be querying, how are you seeing the world now? Right? We've moved. We're not standing in the same place we were when we first met. We've walked further along the path. We're down the valley, up the mountain. We're like beside the stream. What do you see from your view? What do I see from my view? And, to be truly seen, or to truly see someone and show up with them in a place of valuing their view as much as yours, I think is the ultimate place for me right now that I'm desiring to go. Mm-hmm. So it 100% triggered in me this query, this query of, what am I tolerating? What am I accepting? What am I valuing? When am I feeling like I'm just tolerated in somebody else's life, right? Do they value who I am and truly see me for me, and then go, oh, that view is different than mine, and it's beautiful, And then we get to the place of, when you query something like this, you got to query it for your friendships. You got to query it for your family. My daughter and I are showing up in some stuff right now. You got to query it with your lovers. You got to query it with your intimate relationships and your conscious relationships. Yeah, it really
with yourself.
With yourself, exactly. With your soul, with your heart thread, right? Like, you got to, when you start querying this stuff, people, it's never just about, hey, that person out there that I think isn't treating me well. All of a sudden, you're like querying all of it. Yeah, I think it's a powerful place of entrance into who you are.
And I was really looking at that. It really brought to mind of who's showing up? What frequency are we on? Am I showing up for myself? And I'm a very visionary person. I get a lot of visions, and it brought up to mind like rowing a boat across a large expanse of water, like a massive lake or something. And I'm rowing and rowing and rowing away. And the other person, the one that I'm having to ask these questions of, including myself sometimes, is either not rowing, or they're rowing in the opposite direction. And we're not going in the same direction. Or maybe they're drilling holes at their end because they're sabotaging themselves. And while they want to be with me, they don't want to be going across the lake, or they don't want to be in a wooden boat. They want to be in a metal boat or something like that, right? Like just this is the vision I got with it. And it made me really take a look at that, because how often in my relationships have I gone along and, I believe in speaking my truth. I do, right? But when I have to question like that, when I have to question and ask and ask and ask, it's showing that the person isn't on the same vibe. I look at my best friends in my life, and I never have to do that, right? Because we're just on the same vibe. Yeah. And then, there are days, before the call, when Loree and I jumped on, I told her, I said, I'm having a very 2020 day today. As in the year, not the vision.
That's going to be our new thing, right? We're going to be like, for the rest of our lives, it'll be like, oh yeah, 2020 day. Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Come back tomorrow.
Oh, it's been a very 2020 week.
Right? Straight up for me.
Lots of energies. Some weird stuff has been going down, like lots of downtime, resting, going through some heavy energies and stuff. And it just got me thinking about that too, about all the times. If we take that image that I had, that vision that I had of rowing across the lake, sometimes I've had an oar in one hand and a drill in the other hand, drilling my own holes.
In a boat, right? Like, no way, I ain't crossing this lake. Row. Oh,
right? Because I've been listening to old programs, or trying to fit in, or, all these silly little things that we tell ourselves and do, and we feel we have to perform, right? Whereas I'm questioning myself on things, and it just took me really deep, and it gave me clarity. It gave me so much clarity on what I am attracting in my life, what I want. Not only that, but what I deserve, right? Because we're such divine beings on this divine journey. And just to keep going on the divinity, not on the fear, not on the want, not on all those other things, that maybe we've been fueling our lives with, but to go on that divinity, to turn in and go on that divine path. Yeah. So that was it for
I'm already leaning in, right? I'm like, oh, right. I had like one of my first teachers just really talked about this, like the whole thing about rowing the boat across, right? Like you've crossed the river, you've crossed the lake, you've crossed the, like, what is that thing I heard recently? Build a bridge and get over it. Right? Like you've moved to the other side, and then we're looking back. Oh no, I got to go back and get that person. I got to go back and get that thing. They've already carried you in your agreements together to the point where you need to get to. And then, we're dragging and we're holding on, and we're, it's this opening to move forward without the comforts of what have brought us to here. And at the same time, to be gentle with ourselves and recognize, like you're saying, all these things that you recognize in your soul when you do this work. The frequency of the people that are in my life is the frequency of the space that I'm in right now. And the discomfort there, the discomfort in that frequency is that your heart's calling something new. It's calling a different frequency. And then we do this thing where we make ourselves wrong. We find fault in ourselves. We find fault in the other people. But it's simply just a place of, oh, the frequency is new. It's like I'm I'm complete here. I'm complete here, you know?
Yeah. What was the, I want to make sure I get the quote right. So at the end there, after all the questions and stuff, she says, because if I have to ask you, I don't want it anymore,
Yeah.
which means she's standing up for her frequency, what it vibrates at. And if it doesn't vibrate with the other, she just doesn't want that. That's just not for her anymore. And I got shivers running up me right now.
I'm really happy that you're saying
goosebumps.
this, because, I want to tell people that this, for me, this is how I work through it. This is how I have awareness of it, is in these kind of conversations. Because when I first hear that phrase, my programming, my natural story is to go, oh, she's being mean. My first program is to say, my first natural response is, oh, you asked for it and now you get it and now you don't want it.
I was thinking, Alex just put down, I'm talking to the screen right now to add to these wonderful perspectives. I was going to say, can we add Alex on?
Yeah, we should be able to send him a link.
Alex, I'm going to send you a link.
Because that'd be great.
So I'm not certain how to get you on.
Just send him that same link that you sent me and he should be able to.
That's
so I'm going to, keep kind of going with this little thread for myself, is to recognize that I believe I was probably programmed or taught as I was growing up that once you get what you ask for, you have to keep it forever. And I loved what you just said about, it's not that she's saying all those things, aren't beautiful. What she's saying is that to continue to ask for the frequencies of all this stuff, it's no longer there, right? It's no longer there. I can feel Alex coming in, so I'm lost in my space a little.
So those of you that don't know, Alex is one of my best friends. I didn't even bother asking him if he wanted to come on. So I just found him. Yeah. See, I didn't ask him.
You just coming. I guess it's such a great exploration. Everybody should explore these things themselves, right? I just feel like if you really are knowing somebody and valuing somebody, you're going to be in the space of awareness with them. Like you said, with our friends, with our people that we're with every day, we feel a synergy. We feel like a connection, a care, a thread. And it should be like that with the people in our lives, all the people in our lives, right? Our children, our partners, our business people. Oh my gosh, how often are we working with people that we are asking and asking and asking, and they can't see us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how often do we cover ourselves up? How often do we be quiet because of the things we've been taught, the programs we're running? Like you said, that was mean,
That was my first. That's my first, and then I had to go, oh no, but what Paul is saying is, I want this energy now. It's okay to say, now I just want this energy. It's something that you learn in relationship. If you come from a place where you have none of it, you learn, you're taught to how to communicate in your relationship. You go to courses, you talk to counselors, you learn how to communicate. But I think that we're in a space of learning how to communicate with our heart frequency. So if the only thing we do is we decide to listen to the intellectual communication that we're supposed to have and do it in supposed to way, it's always going to come flat. It's always going to come flat, right? When you have to lead up, one of the things I know is Sydney's dad and we communicate a lot now. We're not, we have these separate lives, but we communicate a lot. And it's still a communication where you have to lead up to. You have to lay the groundwork. You have to talk about what you want to talk about so that you're talking about it at the right time so that you get the right stuff. And I'm like you, I want to be in that place where you just sink in.
Mm-hmm.
You let the synergy go back and forth, and you can just talk to each other because you feel it and you're communicating with your heart thread. You're using your intellect and your knowledge to allow your heart to receive another person and hear them and hear your own wounds that show up, right? Like that response for me was a wound when I was like, oh, that's kind of mean what she just said there.
All right. He must have been doing his hair. He's ready now.
All right.
There he is.
I did. I had to do it. I had to make sure it was ready to go.
Welcome, Alex.
Hello. How is everybody?
So
Great.
Good. Fantastic.
So you obviously are excited to like have a little part in our conversation today.
Yeah, well, Paula knows too. Like, there's been a lot of what you guys are talking about. We've been talking about over the last little bit, her and I. And there was the one point where you guys were talking about rowing across the lake and the rivers and crossing that. And I was just like, I was talking about this with my sister. She
again.
No, and my blood sister too, Ashley. She was the one that got me started on the Reiki path, really. And I can't remember how long ago it was, but she was having this conversation with me where she was talking about, I've heard all that stuff where, you cross the river and then you stand in the river and everything gets washed away and cleaned off. And she goes, but I just don't know, like, where am I supposed to be on the corner of the river? Am I supposed to be on the riverbed? Am I supposed to be in the middle of it? She's asking all these questions, and it really just sparked it when, Paula, you were bringing up, the differences of how the partner is seeing it. Sometimes they're drilling holes or they want a metal bar or whatever. And I remember this wave of just whoosh comes in when my sister was talking to me about this, and she goes, yeah, I just don't know. And I was on the phone with her and I just went quiet, and she goes, are you still there? And I said, become the river.
Yo.
And she goes, oh my God. And I go, yeah, I know, right? I know. And it just rushed in where we're so focused on still a duality aspect of trying to get from one point to another. Why aren't we just becoming the journey? Why aren't we becoming the river, becoming the hillside, becoming the meadow, becoming the cocoon, the ants, the butterfly, everything that we see through our path? There shouldn't be a separation on anymore. We should start to be embodying and really encompassing the gratitude of sharing the journey in the first place, So yeah, that was like the big thing I was yelling at my screen about.
I felt intuitively when you showed up of saying, let's add Alex in. I felt there was something he needed to add to this conversation. So I'm glad that you made that comment and I spoke up there. So because, you know what, that's right, is becoming the river, because if we're on the river in our boat, we're a part of it anyways.
Yes.
Right? We're a part of it. And it's going with the flow. It's going with life. It's going with that. And that's why that quote, I don't know, were you on early enough to catch the quote that I read?
Heard the end of the quote. You can go over the whole thing again if you want to, but I did do the little bit end of it. Yeah. Maybe
I should, for people who weren't on at the beginning, because we have some that have been on. All right. So Frida said this. Frida told her husband, I'm not asking you to kiss me nor apologize to me when I think you're wrong. I won't even ask you to hug me when I need it most. I don't ask you to tell me how beautiful I am, even if it's a lie, nor write me anything beautiful. I won't even ask you to call me to tell me how your day went, nor tell me you miss me. I won't ask you to thank me for everything I do for you, nor to care about me when my soul is down. And of course, I won't ask you to support me in my decisions. I won't even ask you to listen to me when I have 1,000 stories to tell you. I won't ask you to do anything, not even be by my side forever. Because if I have to ask you, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Okay. I am glad that you reread that, because when I was hearing the little bit before, I don't want to say there was It was a little bit misunderstood in the perspective from what I heard. And now with that whole quote, to me, all that I heard was she's not going to ask for a divine masculine to act divine.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to. And I've been over that in so many conversations with so many different people. Just being present enough. If you are truly present in self, in your divinity, whether it's feminine or masculine, just being there, you will produce the results necessary, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect. Nobody's perfect, but you're going to be present enough that you won't have a laundry list of things that you need to ask for anymore.
Yeah.
Because what I was hearing before, I was taking into effect a lot of times people, when they're transitioning or they're projecting onto the other person in the relationship, sometimes they're not communicating as articulately or as well as they should themselves. And because of that, then they're now seeing that reflected in their partner. And then, it just becomes a cycle at that point. But from what I heard on that quote, really, she's just asking and holding space for the divine to show up. And you should never have to ask for that. If you're divine, you show up. That's it. It's that simple.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I get that. That was good. Yeah.
In our partners' lives, in our friends' lives, in our business associates, in our lives, like that's what I say is I truly believe in speaking our truth, right? Yeah. But if I'm not on the same frequency as someone, then I'm just not. I mean, look, Alex, look how many times you and I, either you text me or I text you or we call or whatever, and we have the same exact thoughts. And same with Loree. Oh my gosh, same exact thing, because we're on the same frequency, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And I provide space for my divinity to show up and your divinity to show up, whether you be my friend or my partner or whatever, right? Yeah. That's all I want. I just want to flow. I just want to flow. I'm not interested in convincing somebody to flow along with me.
No. And, this is a really interesting topic to bring up now, because just last night, and I did a late night video on my YouTube channel because I had this huge download that came right after this massive trigger moment, like massive. I was doing great. Everything's fine. I'm finishing eating dinner. Look at the screen and the heart chakra just squeezed right up, and it threw. There was more blocks in there than Lego. And I couldn't do, I just sat there with it, and I started going downstairs, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna build my Legos, and everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. And I started to almost revert back to the old coping mechanism of withdrawing and shutting down and blah blah blah. And I went outside, and I just kind of sat there for a minute, and I looked up, and then I kind of looked in. And then I said, I hate feeling like this. God damn, I hate feeling. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not that person. I'm not responding like this anymore. It's that simple. I don't want to feel like this. And when I did, there was this internal shift, and everything that was just bugging me kind of switched around. And there was this 180 of perspective from resentment to gratitude. And I was just like, holy. And I ended up doing a bunch of ninjutsu hand signs, and I balanced through, and I had never felt like that before, where the thing that just triggered me, I literally tried to hop online and thank, I wanted to go thank them for it. Oh my God, you don't know what you just did. I've never felt like this before I tried to, and then the screen, it did some distortion thing where I couldn't access it, and then it goes, no. Just this is for you. This is for you. Just take it for you. So I did. And when I was visualizing with it, the thing that triggered me, that hit my heart chakra, when I saw it again, when I was visualizing it, and it was just an image of an old expectation of a partner being with a new partner, what I realized was it wasn't pain. And it wasn't even longing to be in that position. What it was it was my soul creating a space, and it kind of aches when it breaks through the comfort zone and shells that we create around ourselves. And it just kind of opened up when I saw a true resonance of love with someone that I cared about. And I realized that that pain, that aching, that longing was me opening up and calling out to my divine to say, I'm ready to share now. I'm ready to share with you. This isn't it's not a chase game anymore. This isn't a dependency thing where I'm looking for you to fix something or I want to fix something in you. I felt it, and it shifted, and it opened right back up, and it said, this is now holding space. When I see something like that, there's no adolescent resentment of, oh God, people are in love and I'm not. Yeah. So why are you upset? Why are you upset about somebody feeling one of the greatest feelings in the world? Embrace that, incorporate that into your being, and allow that to become a radar and a direction sense for you to continue your journey to come into the space that you're both holding for each other. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing.
Beautiful.
Leaning in. Leaning in.
Yeah, that's what I found really filling up my screen there.
Right? I'm like, wow. Alex, like you started with the most beautiful phrase, and I think it's what we all inherently know is that, when we're asking somebody to show up in their divine, like I think you said something along, if you have to ask him to show up in his divine masculine, he's not.
He's not.
Yeah, and we shouldn't, that's not the space. We're all moving to this space where we're wanting to know what that feels like in our own being. What does my divine feminine feel like? And I'm asking myself to show up in that all the time. And I don't desire anymore to ask the people around me to show up in their own. Yeah. And I desire simply to know that I'm doing that, and I'm seeing myself in that, and I'm seeing myself in the reflection of the men in my space or the women in my space. And to get to that place to truly see it and go, it's so beautiful where they are, exactly where they are in their own unfolding. And to know that I don't wish to ask you to pull that out anymore. I'm doing enough here, right? I'm doing enough in my own.
You're holding the space for them to be present, to be able to do that. That is enough. Yeah. That's all that really divine partner should do is I'm holding space for you to show up as authentically and genuinely as yourself can be. And that means the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's part of our conditional love. That's what this divine space is there for you to go through all the transitions of your life that you need to. So if I have to ask you to hold that space, then you're not there. You're not there, because to me, if you're still having to ask it from other people around, then it's much like you were just kind of touching on, Loree. You're still asking it of yourself. And I've been really understanding this from this journey of self-worth and definition that I've been going through over the last couple months in particular. When you start to hold yourself up on a pedestal rather than other people in your life, the loved ones that you have, family members, I don't care what the sentiment is around it. If you put them up on a pedestal before yourself, you don't know the true value of self-worth or how to take it in from an outside perspective. It has to be sourced from self, because when it's sourced from self and you hit that level of loving yourself, appreciating yourself, giving yourself everything you need, you won't accept anything less from anybody else. It's that simple. You've given yourself a taste of living in Eden. Why would you go to want to live in the slums in LA? That's not how this works. You stay present in that resonance once you develop it in self. So yeah.
It's really lovely, these awarenesses that we bring forward for our own being within the conversations and the outward things that come to us so we can see. And that's really how we do it, right? When we first start this exploration of being. Not saying like when we're kids, we just naturally know it. And then somehow we forget how to be us. So, the first thing we do is we start outside of ourselves, and we see all this stuff out here, and we see how people act, and we see all these things, and we can only recognize it out here. And we just, it's all the places we dislike. And then we come in and we do all this beautiful stuff. And then we go back out. And what happens when you're in that place, I feel, is that you recognize yourself in someone in a different way.
Yeah.
I see me through you looking at me.
Yeah.
Right. And I see you through me looking at you. And then this outward recognition is very, very different. And we end up in these places where you have these beautiful like chakra openings. By the way, that's the best thing I've ever heard about. I have more blocks than Lego. Seriously. To describe what that feels like, because that's exactly what it's like. Right. So just so people get that you're in the forward motion, you're in one of those places. You're in the places where you're beginning and you see it out here and you're all like, ah. Then you're in here and you're like, ah. And then you see it again. It's this beautiful reciprocal flow. And, and then you start to see that you don't desire to be with people. Like, your desire not to be with people isn't because they're wrong or they're at fault or they're doing anything that, you should dislike. It's because you see that they're in a different space than you are. And your flow, being in that flow of all of it, is prohibited because you're the river and they're the freaking dam that got built. Right?
Yeah.
And so then it just becomes this really different places. Hey, babe.
Night.
I'm lying today.
Yeah.
I want to say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
You going?
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. True.
And that's Tom.
Nice and calm.
Yeah.
All right.
She's got a whole adventure full of a day ahead of her.
Right? Yeah. She's like, she doesn't want to leave the house today. Get in the river. Get in the river.
Get in the river.
Yeah.
Be
Be the river.
So, yeah, I think you guys get what I'm saying. It's just this, I'm really finding this place of exploring the story I'm telling myself about other people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I really, really desire to know other people within the context of themselves.
Yeah.
And then you have to explore the story you tell yourself about why you like them or dislike them.
Yeah.
And then the place of, do I value myself enough too to say, this isn't for me?
Yeah. It takes being vulnerable. Absolutely. You have to be vulnerable with self. And in order to respect any sort of outside vulnerability with no judgment, when we're very judgmental of our own opening up and states of vulnerability, when we see that in other people, we end up becoming, I can't believe they're taking that so hard. I can't believe that's such a bad. Are you kidding me? There's no comparison. There's no context. I only ever use when I'm going through something, a transition, like a comparison aspect, to say there's always going to be something on the negative side of an experience. And that's just the way existence works. If you shine a light on something, it's going to cast a shadow. Having that acknowledgement, I now get the choice of where do I put my resonance? Where do I put my energy? Do I want it to be on the positive side of the experience, or do I want it to be on the negative side of the experience? That's up to me. We have the power to be able to choose which polarity we wish to follow. We get to change our vibe at any point in time. This is the superpower we get through awareness, through awakening, through the journeying aspect, and much like you were saying before, Loree, about going in, I've had a few videos where I've put out I've started a series on my YouTube channel called Masculinity Mondays. It's just going over developing masculine energy, becoming, more present in divine self. And I have a sub segment in there that I'm going over with the wounded masculine in particular, because it's a whole different, kettle of fish, that one. And especially when we're wounded, doesn't matter if it's masculine, feminine, I don't even care if you're taking the divine journey, even just being wounded. The whole point of going through that experience of becoming wounded, becoming vulnerable, is so that we go inward. And it's not to say withdraw, but it's to look inward for the solutions, look inward for the source of the pain, of the source of the transformation, rather than externalizing everything all the time, and when we are able to start doing that, we're able to start taking everything else in from a much better perspective, because we know how to do it with self, and we don't have to query about how other people are doing. Oh, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't have to make sense to you, because you understand that's their journey. Everybody has to go through a self journey.
Yeah. I got a couple things I want to say. First of all, I'm kind of in charge of technology on this call, and I'm dropping it today big time because I want to be in flow with this. So everyone that said hello back, I'll get back to you soon. Laura Lee said there were some great aha moments, and Sierra is saying, thank you for sharing. Sierra wants to know what your YouTube channel is called, Alex.
Everybody, you can find, I should have typed in my full name on here. You can find my YouTube channel under Alexander Willems, Willems. I'll put up a link on my my Facebook as well too, and come check it out. There's Masculinity Mondays and a bunch of in-between videos, and I'd love to see everybody there.
We'll get a link up in the comments here in a bit.
Awesome.
So the thing that I wanted to say to, of course, I'm agreeing with everything you two are saying, right? Yeah. I said my piece earlier, but the whole thing about the quote that I read at the beginning and kind of the middle of the call with all the questions that she says, I'm not going to ask, and because if I have to ask them, I don't remember. I'm not going to quote her very well, but she's not interested. This is my interpretation of the quote. I'm just not interested in that. Right. And this is because, like what you said, Alex, just this last piece here is, where do I put my energy? Yeah. Because the thing is being in that friendship, that work relationship, that mate relationship, where you're constantly in the energy of asking, whether you verbally say it or not. If you're constantly in that waiting, that energy, wanting them to be on the same vibe as you, wanting them to be on that same frequency, is draining. It is soul sucking, draining horribleness, right? And so that's the whole thing with me, is life is meant to be joyful. Life is meant to be fun and love and flowing, right? Like just flowing, raising vibrations when you get together with people and experiences, not bringing them down. Or, like I said, not being in the same boat and one of you's rowing and the other one's drilling holes, right? Like, I mean, you may both love boating, but if you're not in the same destination, like I'm going to Eden and somebody, that's in the boat with me is going to the slums of Harlem, I think is what you said, or New York or something. Yeah. It's like, those are two different destinations. Nothing against Harlem or New York. Okay. But
and there's nothing wrong. I don't have any judgment as according to where people want to go. When we use comparisons like that, it's more so just
two different places.
Just two different places. One person's going to Edmonton, one person's going to Calgary. One person going to BC, one person going to Saskatchewan.
I've seen a lot on my journey. I remember being on the John Maxwell team, and he said, I was feeling very lonely. I had left some friends behind and raised my elevation, my frequency, and left some friends behind, and went to Guatemala with him and the team the first time we went to a country to help affect change in a country. And John gave us a pep talk. And first thing out of his mouth was, he said, leadership is lonely. He said, because in order to be a leader, you're constantly developing yourself. You're constantly raising yourself. And that means you're going to vibrate out of people's lives, but that's okay, because more people are going to come in, because there's always that soul family that comes in and is with us. Right. So it's a constant evolution, right? And to stay in that frequency, and it's so rewarding to stay in the frequency of divine, because as I stay in that frequency of divine, I let go of my other holdbacks, my Lego blocks, right?
Yeah.
I let go of all that stuff, which helps me to raise higher. And, it actually, through these conversations, it helps my friends as well, right? My friends and I look every time, I either speak with you, Alex, or Loree, our vibrations go higher, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a beautiful thing. So where do I want to put my energy? Well, I want to put my energy in my divinity, and any of those who are around me in their divinity. And I'm flowing with that. And I'm in my divine feminine, I'm flowing my divine masculine, holding space for them that show up for themselves, right? Show up. So yeah, there's my 2 cents. I'm just gonna lean back and then lean back in again.
There's so much in it. There's so much in these conversations that are just so juicy. I've always felt like the yumminess comes in this, right? This is where you like really are, when you're past the point of what we started with this quote, where she's saying, I don't want to ask anymore. Like if I have to ask, I don't want it, because this is what happens when you're in the yumminess of awareness. So many things. I make little notes. I have like sticky notes everywhere in these calls. I gotta like create some sort of thing. But there's a few things that were just so beautiful that I felt, and I know everyone that listens, find your own clue. Find your clue. You're gonna like hear something that Paula says, or I say, or Alex says, and it's gonna clue you into, you're gonna feel it. You're going to like have a whole bunch of thoughts about it. You're going to have an emotion about it. That's your clue as to where you go next. What brings you to the next place. And, Alex, you said this thing about bringing in the wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so good, because I have so often felt like somebody's wounded me. My wounds are like define me, all these things. But when you keep going, keep exploring, when you understand that joy and peace are your natural flow, that's where you're going. You do understand that you bring in the wound. You bring it in because it actually propels you forward into the joy and the peace.
Yep.
Like I truly remember the first time I understood that joy was where I was going. And I was in a seminar with one of my first teachers, and there was like 200 people in the room. And he had asked some question, I don't even know what. And somebody who had been, in their flow of their journey for a while, she stood up on her chair. Like she was like across the room, and she stood up on her chair and she answered this question in the purest joy. She was just like, oh man, this joyful like response. And I'm across the room in this like dark feeling. And I saw her and I was like, that's where I'm going. And somehow my being knew, and there's 200 people between me and her. Right now, there's 200 people between me and her. And I didn't get it then, but I get it now.
Yeah.
There's 200 new awarenesses. There's 200 new understandings. There's 200 new moments of recognition of her essence that I had not had in mine. And when I started to figure that out and explore that, that's that place of then the outer world of people became something where it was like, and I want to call in the wound.
Yeah.
And I want to know that person. And it's my thing. Like I truly want to know people, because in knowing them, I know myself more, and it enhances me. And I really get that every single person between me and that wonderful light on that chair full of joy, every single one of them was a new place to know myself. And I didn't get it back then, but that's exactly what I set out to do. And, I really just am inviting people as they listen to us to find your own clues, right? The hurts in the stories that I tell myself, the hurts in the relationships that aren't working. That's a clue.
Exactly.
That's a clue. The hurt isn't the thing to get lost in. It's the place to go, oh, there's that beautiful wound. And when I recognize it and see it, and then see somebody else in their divinity in their own space, that propels me towards that place. And I think the other thing I really want to encourage people to hear in us, in my pillar of my journey, and Alex's and Paula's, is as we grow our own divinity, we're not asking somebody else to change anything about themselves. Yeah. We're simply wanting to see you in your beautiful light exactly as you are. And the more I see myself in that light, the more I see you. Yeah. And it's okay when you're uncomfortable in me. It's okay when you're uncomfortable in your own light. It's okay when you can't see you. It's okay when you can't see me. Yeah. We're not asking anything. We're truly just not asking anything of you. And
not asking anything, but I am 100% holding the space for each and every one of you to show up as your fullest and truest self. And know that when you enter that space, if you're present with me, I will always come as my full, whole, truest self to my utmost potential. And with that vibration being shared, I would expect the same out of every one of you. Come with your fullest potential. Stop holding yourself back. If I were to ask something, that would be it. Let go of the blocks that are holding you back and come as your fullest, truest self.
It's so great. And your fullest, truest self is different in every moment. Every moment, right? I don't sleep much right now. My daughter and I are working through some things, and my fullest self in 5 hours of sleep a week is different than my fullest self in 5 hours a day. Yep. And loving where you are exactly in it, and knowing that when you're coming in your fullest being in who you are in this moment, not in the moment that you think is the most exceptional thing that you've ever done, or the place that you could ever go and you've achieved everything and you're like singing to the choir. Yeah. That's not what we mean. We mean fully in you, honestly, as you. Like the deepest honesty I have ever experienced is when I just see myself exactly as I am. And that list people make of like what you want in a partner, that list. One of the top 3 things on my list is someone who is desiring to achieve their own deep honesty. Not that you're like there, not that you like, yeah, right? I'm like, just that it's a desire.
Yeah.
And I think that's the friendships that we're in right now. That's that's us on this call. That's, like Paula, you said, the synergy that you're feeling with people is coming from those that desire to see themselves in their trueness.
Yes.
Yeah, to show up in their authenticity, their authentic self of, I want to know them. Mm-hmm. I want to experience them. I don't want to experience what they've been taught they think they should be like, right? I don't want to experience them in holding back, and like I said, life is meant to be enjoyed, an experience. This is a big thing in my life right now. I don't know, about a year ago, I guess it was, I made the decision that I'm going to live my life experience by experience. Mm-hmm. And it has just been such a beautiful journey. Maybe it's longer than a year, but we are here to experience life, right? Not to shut it down, not to close ourselves off, but to experience life. And so I'm just not interested in having to ask or having to hide or, any of that. So experience joy. Yeah. What do we want to experience? Experience joy, experience love. I want to experience your soul and feel that with me, right? Now I'm leaning in on myself. I just started going in on like,
good stuff.
like,
This is
oh,
like, you know, there's something else that I think that people that are listening really will hear when they're listening. Each of us is talking about the intention that we hold towards the awareness of our essence. And all three of us at some point are talking about the love and the joy and the flow. And, you know, there's a difference between intention and goals. You know, the goals that we set are towards the experiences that we need to have in order to fulfill the intention of our calling and our soul. And I think Paige is on the call today, and she said something to me a couple of weeks ago on a call we were having that truly I just it's everything. She said, I am in service to my alignment so that I can be in service to our purpose. Right? So, you know, there's a difference between the intentional space that we're holding for ourselves and the goals that we're doing. So, you know, you go out and you achieve these goals towards different things. Those goals are towards the experiences that you need to have to feel the intention of bringing in your wounds, to be in your joy, to be in your flow, to feel peace. And it's something that's really, truly will magnify your growth, is when you decide to set an intention towards where you're going. I set that intention years ago. I just, like I shared that story just a few minutes ago, I was going towards joy. And everything that has come after that is bringing me there. When we set an intention, all three of us on this call, when we set an intention to experience something bigger in our essence, we know everything that comes after that takes us there. Alex, when you said, right, your heart chakra's got more blocks than Lego, right? You're not like, right? I do too. You're not upset about that going, oh, I've reversed and I'm going backwards. No. You're like, oh yeah, those Legos are because I decided back there that I wanted to feel good.
I wanted to build some stuff.
I want to build some stuff. I want to feel good. Like sometimes people will get lost in the space of I'm going backwards, or it's not working, or right, any of us, like our 2020 week.
Yeah.
But underneath, we know that those things are required to get to where that heart thread is, right?
100%. It's very, very similar along the lines of what Paige was saying, being in service to your alignment. I had gone through a very, very similar epiphany moment, I guess you could say. It was very early on. I want to say about like 6, maybe even 7 years ago, very early on in my stages and in my journey. But I had come to this conclusion of understanding the more that we're trying to control things in our lives, the only sense of control that we've ever been taught is a third dimensional, very external sense of control. We haven't been taught self-control very well. We haven't been taught internal control. We haven't been taught energy or emotional control or any of that stuff. It all became external, revolving around sources of you know, money or jobs or relationship, whatever it was. And when I kind of started to sit with that in the early stages, I realized, well, I can't do it that way. That's not how this works. That's not how energy works. That's not how souls work. I can't physically touch my soul. I can't physically touch my emotions. I cannot put in a physical work into doing this. There is no labor physically that I can do to get at these sources. So I kind of sat there in meditation one day and I realized I have to relinquish control. I have to give up what I believe control to be in order to really gain control of myself, not the world around me, not the way I'm expecting things to happen, but control of self. because that's what's going to end up dictating my experience is self. Without me, my experience doesn't exist. It's that simple. I am the entire source of my personal experience. So all I have to do is understand that and let go of trying to form that into something. It already is beauty. It already is creation. Why am I trying to create something out of creation? I can't. That's not how it works. It's already created. So yeah, it's very similar on that. And kind of the main point I want to get across to everybody on that, relinquish control. I sat there and I said, I give over control to my journey. I relinquish control to my journey, knowing and giving full faith into the aspect of I will never give myself something in this life that I'm unable to handle. It just doesn't happen. No matter how hard it is, that only means that, wow, I'm going to get so many experience points off of this.
We just all need to realize,
the harder the boss in the video game, the more experience points.
We got to realize we gamified our lives.
Yes.
Right? We need to like have a little more celebration and reward because right? Look at those experience points. We gamified this life.
Yes, have fun with it. Don't take it seriously. Right? You know, we can do something without having to take it so seriously. I will show respect every bit of the way, but if you don't think I'm going to crack jokes and have fun, you don't know me very well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I had it.
It's at the top of the hour, so we should be doing our closing comments. So say what you want to say, Loree, and then come on. I need to prepare for my next call. So time is up.
So love you, everybody. Y'all go. That was mine.
I love it. Okay. I'm going to close off with what has come from all of this. Is that the more you laugh, the more you love, the more you have fun, the more joy you're in, the more abundance, the more experience, the more relationship, the more light, the more everything that comes your way. Just, when we say we had a 2020 day, or a 2020 week, you know what it is? It's starting in the clues of what isn't working and moving to the joy. And that's what we're going to know it means to say we had a 2020 day.
Yeah.
Yes. Transformation.
That's right. In an hour, transform.
Yes. Do you have any closing comments, Alex?
Sure. Yeah, just kind of touching on that too, acknowledging the things in your life that need changing, and really being prepared to step into I had it and I'm trying to talk to get to the point, and it's like, I'll make it back. It was, no, it won't. It's in my YouTube videos. Go watch my YouTube videos. I love everybody. That's my point, is love, have love and gratitude, and just enjoy. Just stop taking things so seriously. Be yourself, and let the rewards for your authenticity come as authentically as your authentic self is produced. You can't control your authentic self. You can't control the rewards that you get for being that authentic self. Let that karmic cycle just flow. Flow. Breathe.
Yeah. And I want to bring back, so the quote that I shared, she talked about asking all the questions, and then she got down to that she doesn't want that. And for me, it's like, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in trying to bring somebody else up into my frequency if they're not prepared, if they're not there, if they're not in that space, right? And even myself being aware of that. We've had a lot of talk around this, and I think it's really cool because you two keep saying the same word, as do I, of enjoy. We want to enjoy life. We want to enjoy our experiences. So what I'd like to leave you with today is something I channeled a while ago, because I'm living my life for experiences, for joy, for peace and love, right? So I want to enjoy, but further than that, I want to be in joy. So enjoy your life, right? Enjoy your experiences. Enjoy yourself. You know, life is amazing and wondrous and magnificent, and so are you. So enjoy your 2020.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, what a great opportunity
Hey, Paula,
to grow.
just as we're closing up, do you want to tell everybody about what we've got coming up?
Oh, yeah, forgot about that. Yes, so Loree and I are doing a live event in Okotoks, just south of Calgary, on October 3rd. It's called Lean Into the Mystic, right, Loree? That's what it's called?
Yes, it is.
It's called Lean Into the Mystic.
Leaning in.
We're always leaning. It is a chance to come and join us for the day from about 10 o'clock in the morning till approximately 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to be doing all sorts of rituals and ceremonies and discussions and conversations and soul activations and all sorts of goodies. Come and dance with us. Come and lean in with us. Bring a lunch. And then afterwards, we're going to have a celebratory supper. So bring something for potluck. And so we'll put the event in the comments, and then you can find it on Facebook. We have a group we've started called Conscious Conversations, right? Is that what it's called?
Gather in Conscious Conversations.
Gather in Conscious Conversations. Maybe I wasn't the right person to ask. Gather in Conscious Conversations. And the event in the group is called Lean Into the Mystic. And so, and if you we post about it on our pages, you know, so you can look through our post too to find that. Plus I'll put it in the comments. So yeah, so anyways, October 3rd, and we're going to get together and just have a wonderful day and come away with our frequency raised and activated. So, and we invite you to join us. All right.
Right.
So that's it. We are over the hour for sure. When you said earlier that we talk for an hour every Tuesday, I'm like, that's not true. It's an hour and 6 minutes. It's an hour and 8. It's an hour and no, I wasn't going to do that. Anyways, thank you for joining us, whether you're joining live today or catching the replay. Whenever you're watching this is the right time for you. Yeah. And thank you for showing up for yourself and your soul. I also want to thank our surprise guest, Alex.
Thanks so much, guys, for having me. I really, I love being on. So
yeah. And Aaron says timing is everything. Isn't that true? Right? So just beautiful. Thank you for that tidbit there, Aaron. And as always, Loree, it's a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to next Tuesday. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.